Welcome back to B&B Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the latest developments in the lives of our favorite bold and beautiful characters, including some surprising confrontations and secret relationships that are shaping up to create major drama in the coming episodes. Hospital confrontations and family tensions. Dr. John Finnegan is on a collision course with the powerful Bill Spencer in what promises to be an explosive encounter at the hospital. Their paths are set to cross in the hospital corridors, where Finn won't hold back his frustrations regarding Bill's controversial decision to secure a pardon for Luna Nozawa. The tension between these two strong-willed men has been building for weeks, with Finn deeply concerned about the implications of Bill's actions on his family's safety and the justice system itself. The confrontation between Finn and Bill has been brewing since the pardon was announced, sources close to the production reveal. Their face-off could potentially escalate into a heated argument that might draw unwanted attention in the hospital waiting area. Hospital staff may need to intervene if their voices rise above acceptable levels in the medical facility. Meanwhile, Steffi Forrester finds herself in a difficult position, torn between her loyalty to her husband Finn and her complicated history with the Spencer family. She has yet to inform Bill about his son Liam's hospitalization, creating another layer of tension that will inevitably explode when Bill discovers this information has been withheld from him. Memory struggles and medical mysteries. Liam Spencer's medical condition continues to worsen as he struggles to piece together the events that led to his current state. Under the careful observation of Dr. Grace Buckingham and his ex-wife Steffi Forrester, Liam attempts to navigate through the fog of his memories to recall what exactly happened to him. The medical team is growing increasingly concerned about Liam's inability to remember basic details about his accident. Dr. Buckingham has ordered additional neurological tests to determine if there might be underlying damage affecting his memory centers. Steffi's presence seems to provide some comfort to Liam, though her questions about whether he fell or if his injury was accidental have yet to yield clear answers. What remains particularly troubling is Liam's apparent amnesia regarding the significant confrontation he had with his father Bill, which resulted in his dramatic resignation from Spencer Publications. This father-son conflict represents a major turning point in both their lives, yet it seems to have been completely erased from Liam's consciousness. Secret grandmother-granddaughter bonding. In a more clandestine corner of town, Sheila Carter continues her deceptive behavior by maintaining a secret relationship with her newly discovered granddaughter, Luna Nozawa. Despite making promises to her husband Deacon Sharp that she would sever ties with Luna, Sheila has been orchestrating covert meetings behind his back. These grandmother-granddaughter rendezvous have become increasingly frequent, with their conversations often centering around Luna's growing romantic interest in Will Spencer. Sheila appears genuinely invested in Luna's love life, offering advice and showing a softer side that few in town have witnessed. Their relationship has developed a surprising warmth, with Luna seemingly unaware of the full extent of her grandmother's notorious past. The duplicity in Sheila's marriage grows more pronounced with each secret meeting. She explicitly chose Deacon over Luna when confronted with an ultimatum, but her actions tell a completely different story. This double life places her marriage in serious jeopardy, especially considering Deacon's fierce loyalty to friends who were victims of Luna's violent actions. Dangerous secrets and looming discoveries. The clock is ticking on Sheila's secret relationship with Luna. Deacon remains completely unaware that his wife continues to meet with the woman responsible for the deaths of people he considered close friends. The inevitable discovery of this betrayal promises to shatter the fragile happiness Sheila has constructed with Deacon. What makes this situation particularly volatile is Luna's violent history. The young woman has blood on her hands, yet Sheila, herself no stranger to violence, seems unbothered by this fact. Their shared capacity for harm creates an unsettling dynamic that could potentially threaten others in their orbit. The question on everyone's mind is how Deacon will react when he inevitably discovers Sheila's deception. Given his ultimatum and Sheila's apparent choice, the revelation that she has been systematically lying to him could trigger a reaction that might put an end to their marriage permanently. Spencer family drama intensifies. The Spencer family finds itself at the center of multiple storylines, with Liam hospitalized and unable to remember his conflict with his father, Bill facing an imminent confrontation with Finn, and young Will Spencer becoming increasingly entangled with Luna Nozawa. Will's budding romance with Luna adds another complicated layer to the already complex web of relationships in Los Angeles. Unbeknownst to Will, he's developing feelings for a woman with blood on her hands, and one who happens to be the granddaughter of Sheila Carter, one of the town's most notorious villains. The Spencer patriarch, Bill, remains unaware that his son Liam is currently hospitalized, raising questions about Steffi's decision to withhold this crucial information. When Bill inevitably learns about Liam's condition, his reaction could potentially trigger another explosive confrontation, this time with Steffi and potentially Hope as well. As these storylines continue to develop and intersect, viewers can expect dramatic revelations, emotional confrontations, and potentially life-altering decisions from all parties involved. The web of secrets, lies, and hidden relationships continues to grow more tangled with each passing day in the world of the bold and the beautiful. Next, we will learn about the issue of medical inaccuracies that has fans of the bold and the beautiful up in arms, questioning the show's commitment to realism and proper research in their dramatic hospital scenes. Viewer reactions and future implications. The devoted audience of the bold and the beautiful will need to continue tuning in daily to discover how this controversial storyline unfolds following the medically questionable CPR scene. Speculation is running rampant across social media platforms and fan forums about whether the production team will acknowledge these glaring errors or simply proceed as if nothing unusual occurred. Some longtime viewers are expressing concern that this incident represents a broader pattern of declining attention to detail that has characterized recent storylines. This isn't just about medical accuracy, explains television critic Eleanor Jameson. It's about respecting the audience's intelligence and maintaining the suspension of disbelief that's crucial for any dramatic series. When viewers spot obvious errors like this, it pulls them out of the emotional investment they've made in the characters and situations. Industry insiders suggest that budget constraints may be partially responsible for the shortcuts taken in these critical scenes. With daytime television facing increased competition from streaming platforms and declining viewership demographics, production teams are often forced to make difficult decisions about where to allocate their limited resources. Unfortunately, medical consultants appear to have been one of the casualties of these financial considerations. Fan theories about Liam's miraculous survival despite the improper medical care are already emerging, with some suggesting that this could potentially be setting up a supernatural element to his recovery or perhaps indicating that the entire hospital sequence might later be revealed as a dream sequence or hallucination. Others wonder if the show might retroactively address the issue by revealing that Liam has some unique physiological characteristic that allowed him to survive treatment that would have been fatal for others. Social media backlash and expert commentary. The online community's reaction to the medical inaccuracies has been swift and merciless, with viewers taking to various platforms to express their frustration and disbelief. One particularly pointed comment observed, "It's a miracle Liam got a hospital room set at all," highlighting how this incident fits into a pattern of questionable medical scenarios on the show. This sardonic observation was followed by a comparison to another character's treatment. Steffi had to recover on her living room couch after being locked in a cage for days without food or water. Even primetime shows try to wing it without medical consultants these days. The criticism wasn't limited to casual viewers. Those with medical backgrounds were particularly vocal about the inaccuracies portrayed. One fan shared, "My mother used to work in the medical field. We were watching last Friday's episode this past weekend and she kept complaining about how the doctors on the show were doing everything wrong." This comment underscores how these errors aren't just noticed by medical professionals but are obvious enough to be spotted by anyone with even second-hand knowledge of proper medical procedures. Dr. Marcus Hendricks, an emergency medicine specialist who occasionally consults for television productions, offered his professional assessment of the scene in question. What viewers witnessed wasn't just slightly inaccurate, it was a complete misrepresentation of emergency medical protocol. Performing CPR on a soft hospital bed would be ineffective at best and potentially harmful at worst. Additionally, the staffing shown would be inadequate for a cardiac emergency. These kinds of portrayals can actually spread dangerous misinformation about proper life-saving techniques. Several nursing organizations have also weighed in on social media, expressing concern that such inaccurate portrayals undermine public understanding of proper emergency response procedures and potentially diminish respect for the rigorous training healthcare professionals undergo. Additional medical inaccuracies and protocol violations. The criticism of the scene extended beyond just the improper CPR technique, with viewers noting multiple additional errors that compounded the unrealistic portrayal. One particularly detailed critique pointed out, "The CPR done here was laughably bad and just terrible. Letting Steffi stay in the room and yell like a Looney Tune was just awful too. In a RL situation they would have ejected her as soon as things were going bad and told her to be quiet. Just awful." Indeed, hospital protocols during emergency resuscitation efforts strictly prohibit family members from remaining in the room, particularly if they're becoming hysterical or interfering with the medical team's concentration. The emotional intensity of Steffi's reaction, while dramatically compelling from a storytelling perspective, represented yet another departure from realistic medical practice. Another viewer with apparent medical knowledge added further insight. "He also wouldn't be left in the normal ER once he did that, he would have been up to ICU as soon as he was stable." This comment highlights how the show failed to portray the standard progression of care that would follow a cardiac event serious enough to require resuscitation. A patient experiencing such a crisis would be immediately transferred to intensive care for continuous monitoring and specialized treatment, not left in a standard hospital room. Medical professionals have noted that the scene also failed to show other standard elements of emergency cardiac care, including the application of monitoring equipment, the administration of emergency medications, and the presence of a crash cart with defibrillation equipment. These omissions further contributed to the scene's lack of authenticity and medical accuracy. The fatal flaw: CPR fundamentals ignored. At the heart of the controversy lies a fundamental misunderstanding or disregard for the basic principles of cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The Bold and the Beautiful's writing team committed what many viewers are calling an unforgivable oversight in their portrayal of Liam Spencer's medical emergency. The scene depicted Liam receiving CPR while still in his hospital bed. A practice that directly contradicts one of the most basic tenets of proper resuscitation technique. Medical experts universally agree that effective CPR requires the patient to be positioned on a firm, flat surface to allow for proper chest compressions. This fundamental requirement ensures that the force applied during compressions is transferred effectively to the heart, creating the artificial circulation necessary to maintain oxygen flow to vital organs. When CPR is attempted on a soft surface like a hospital bed, the compression force is partially absorbed by the mattress, significantly reducing the effectiveness of the procedure. In real-world medical settings, patients requiring CPR would immediately be moved to a backboard or the floor, or the bed would be fitted with a CPR board that provides the necessary rigidity, explains Jennifer Carrington, a registered nurse with 15 years of emergency department experience. Performing compressions on a standard hospital mattress is essentially futile. You simply cannot generate effective circulation that way. The scene was further compromised by the minimal medical staff present during what should have been portrayed as a full-scale medical emergency. With only one doctor and 2 nurses attending to Liam during his crisis, the show presented a woefully inadequate response team. Standard protocol for a code blue situation would involve a team of at least 5 to 7 medical professionals, including multiple doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, and other specialists, each with clearly defined roles in the resuscitation effort. The verdict: Liam's impossible survival. The consensus among viewers with medical knowledge is clear and damning. Given the improper techniques and inadequate response shown on screen, Liam Spencer should not have survived the medical emergency as portrayed. As one particularly blunt comment stated, "In this case, Liam should have flatlined on the table and ended up dead." This assessment isn't merely nitpicking, it reflects the genuine concern that such portrayals can create unrealistic expectations about medical emergencies and their outcomes. When television shows depict improper medical techniques leading to miraculous recoveries, they potentially contribute to public misunderstanding about the critical importance of proper emergency procedures. Dr. Elaine Winters, a cardiologist and occasional media consultant, explains the implications. What viewers witnessed was essentially a fantasy scenario. A patient receiving the kind of substandard care depicted would have an extremely low probability of survival. By showing a positive outcome following improper technique, the show inadvertently suggests that proper medical protocols are somehow optional or unnecessarily rigid, which couldn't be further from the truth. Some fans have speculated that the writing team's error might actually create an opportunity for an interesting plot twist, suggesting that perhaps Liam's apparent recovery might be revealed to be temporary, with complications arising later due to the inadequate care he received. Others wonder if the show might introduce a medical malpractice storyline, though most consider this unlikely given the production's apparent lack of concern for medical accuracy in the first place. Research failures and production oversights. The glaring medical inaccuracies have led many to question how such obvious errors made it through the production process. Television productions, particularly long-running series like The Bold and the Beautiful, typically employ consultants or researchers to verify the accuracy of specialized content, including medical scenarios. The absence of such verification in this case suggests either budget constraints, production rushing, or simply a prioritization of dramatic effect over factual accuracy. Industry veteran and television producer Marcus Thornton offers some insight into how such oversights might occur. In the fast-paced world of daytime television, with episodes produced nearly year-round, there's immense pressure to move quickly. Sometimes scenes that should receive specialized consultation get rushed through production because of scheduling constraints or last-minute script changes. That said, basic research on something as fundamental as CPR should be standard practice. The failure to accurately portray such a critical medical procedure raises questions about the show's research practices more broadly. Fans are now scrutinizing other recent storylines for similar inaccuracies, with some pointing out questionable legal proceedings, business practices, and even fashion industry portrayals that strain credibility. Production companies typically maintain relationships with consultants across various fields who can be called upon to review scripts for accuracy. The apparent absence of medical consultation in this case might indicate broader production issues that could affect other aspects of the show's storytelling moving forward. As The Bold and the Beautiful continues to navigate this controversy, viewers will be watching closely to see whether the production team makes adjustments to ensure greater accuracy in future medical scenarios, or whether dramatic license will continue to trump factual correctness in the world of daytime television.